Okay. We're recording. Maryam Moosavi, how the hell are you?
Honestly, I'm having one of the a great day, like one of the better days out of the last 8 months. We just did comedy in the park last night, and it was the best turnout yet.
Because I think the weather is perfect, and I think people are a little bit like, oh, we can't do anything for Halloween. Let's at least go to this comedy in the park thing, and you've been doing it now for like probably what?
Since August, September, October, yeah, only for 3 months. But I don't know what happened this time around. Hi, Penelope.
There she
Um,
is. Like she's looking for
but
her spot to sit, and she's like, wait.
that's so sad. This hurts me. You need to set her up somewhere.
She took off since August.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened this time around. I guess more people shared it. I think a couple, like the burlesque scene here in Sacramento, shared it a lot on Instagram, and then like Queens 916 made their own flyer. So I think which is like the queer community here in Sacramento. So I think word just spread a little bit more for this show. And I think it might be our last show until spring, so I'm happy it went out with a bang.
Well, I'm glad you went out with a bang. Yeah, I was wondering what you were gonna do with that because daylight savings was not your friend the last few weeks that I was going to it, and
Yeah.
because the weather was finally perfect.
Yeah, I know.
And
And then last Sunday I just decided to have like an impromptu one. For a little bit we were doing Fridays at 6, but we're like, let's just do one today at 5. And it was so windy, so dusty the whole time. The wind was like, get the fuck off the stage, like anytime somebody tried to perform. And like there were 4 audience members, 2 of which were my friends, 2 of which have heard all of our jokes. So it was one so I'm happy we didn't end on a note like that.
yeah, that would have been a bummer to end like that.
Oh, for sure.
So you're laying it to rest. Are you working on something else? Because like your hosting skills are just like you're starting to get those razor sharp, and it doesn't
Right, I'm
seem
starting to get them.
yeah, it doesn't seem
Finally.
like you want to lay those to rest right now. It seems like you want to do something and keep that going. Are you going to try to find a some place to do a show or something or
Yeah, I totally thank you for pointing that out because I feel it like I'm starting to feel just comfortable enough, like just a little bit. And I know if I stop, then I'll have to start all over. But I was thinking about, well, I have reached out to Lowbrow, but that was before Comedy Spot reopened, so that now that's not really an option. But I reached out to like Beer Garden and haven't heard back. I was kind of hoping to find an outdoor venue, maybe like the Sacktown Brewery. It's like off Stockton or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but no one's really gotten back to me, and I totally get it. Maybe I'm just being unprofessional. I don't know how to persuade or convince them.
I I think right now it's a weird time because it seems like everything is like week to week.
Hmm.
And but man, I hope you find something soon because you and I started doing comedy right about the same time,
Yeah.
and I always kind of like looked at you like as a little sister. But as the months went on, I kind of started looking at you like as a big sister because like you were grinding and like anywhere like sometimes I would think about going somewhere and I wouldn't go and like I would look on Instagram like fuck Miriam was there, Miriam was there, Miriam was there, and you were just
Aw.
like so like you really pushed me to like because I don't know it's like you kind of like when you start with somebody you kind of like want to stay parallel with them, right? Like kind of like like just okay, she's getting shows, I'm getting shows, she's
Yeah.
doing this, I'm doing this, right? So
Yeah.
like I really like I really always admired your hustle, and
Thank you.
it's
I
real.
admire yours too. I mean, there's telenovela and then you have your podcast, and like I wish I could get into podcasting. It's like this whole other world, but I definitely feel that we are parallel. I think we just have our own little projects.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm always rooting for you. Like I'm
Thank
always
you. I feel
like
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always like there's your
I
posters right back
know.
there.
It's
Yeah,
so cute. Like
that's the
Yeah, you gave me a huge opportunity. You gave me a lot of time to work on those posters. I got Ruby to help me with the roses. Like it was like a collab, like artists helping artists. I just like you really come up with a lot of opportunities to help other artists and to give them a platform. And I think the whole community appreciates that. And
Well, I
it's
think like you like I look at it like we have to leverage each other, right? Like I
right.
don't want to like I could have like paid like a print shop to like do that, but why not like put money in your pocket, like a little bit
Totally.
less money too? Then I would have had to pay a print shop. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
I would rather do that, you know. I would always rather put a couple of bucks in a friend's pocket than to put a
Totally.
couple of bucks like in fucking Staples pockets.
Totally. And we got to lean on each other. And there are so many people coming from so many different places. Like you can find whatever skill you're looking for. Like you can outsource if you need somebody to make you a video or a flyer
You really
or
can.
like to promote your show. I mean, everybody has these secondhand skills that in our community that we can really just rely on each other without outsourcing
Look
beyond.
at how many of us have leaned on what's Evan T. Lilly to do
Dude, the
graphics.
caricatures and
Yeah, look,
shit.
I'm wearing a Love Horrors baseball cap. He did this
He
logo.
made that.
Yeah, well, he did this logo. Yeah, then Emily put it on a baseball cap, and then
That's so
I saw a box of baseball caps. I was like, "Hey, can I have one of those?"
And
And
then Emily put it on a baseball cap for you. She surprised you with that.
no, no, no.
Oh,
She made them
she
to
ordered them.
sell. Yeah, she ordered them to sell. But like,
Oh,
I
that's
have a lot of hats, and I was like, "Well, I'm obviously going to get one of those, right?"
yeah. Number one
So
fan over here.
yeah. So you know, another thing I was like going over my Miriam notes, and there's a couple of things. One is I always wanted to redo your podcast because you came on my podcast early, and it was when I did not know what, like I was just running on adrenaline. And like the audio quality is horrible on your first podcast, but it is still the ninth most downloaded podcast of all my podcasts.
That's crazy. What did
Like
we talk
it's
about? We talked about like signs. We
I
talked
don't even
about
know what we talked
I don't
about.
even remember.
And it still gets like someone obviously searches your name because like it gets a random download like every other week. Like
That's so weird. I wonder if
it,
my dad's trying to find me. I was kidding.
that might be
An
what it is. I don't
ex-boyfriend.
know. And then when I had you and Ruby like Dream Come True live show, the audio guy, you could hear him talking to the other audio guy through the whole recording.
No way.
So I had to use my on my phone audio from my pocket, and I was fidgeting with I fidget with this thing.
Yeah, when you're nervous or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. And you could hear this like every 30 seconds.
Oh
So
man, and but I'm glad you decided to record it in secondhand like that,
yeah,
because like, I
I
mean,
have
you should have been able to rely on your audio guys, but that's really funny. So did you have to kind of piece it together and edit out the sound of that clipping?
I did the best I could,
Yeah.
and I was always like upset that one of my favorite people in Sacramento was been on my podcast
Oh,
twice, and they got like audio from my podcast. So
hey, we're
I
still
was
trying to find our footing. It's
I'm
okay.
so glad. So I wanted to tell you, like, I'm glad we're able to do another podcast, and we're gonna get really good audio this time. And
Yeah.
then the second thing that I want to talk to you about in your, as far as like your comedy, well, we'll talk about other things, obviously,
Sure.
but I feel like I know your grandma. Just
Yes. You're so funny. Isn't it crazy? She's not heard any of my jokes. She has no idea what my comedy is
because
about.
I still, anytime I think something is too expensive, I'm like, bloodsuckers.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that joke because I thought that joke was dead and then I did it. I was supposed to do a 10-minute set last night and it was at 8 minutes when I got the 2-minute light and I just was just searching and trying to do calculations in my head and just pulled that joke out of my ass. It hadn't worked like 10 times in a row, so I thought it was dead, but it did really well last night. And I was like, maybe a resurrection, like maybe we'll bring it back. So thank you for saying that.
It's so good. And then you have like you have a newer joke about having to I don't want to give your jokes away, but you have a newer joke about you and your grandma like having to like you had to sleep in the same bed as your grandmother. And
Yeah.
I was driving around earlier today and I was talking to my best friend and she's like, "Who's on your podcast today?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Maryam Moosavi and blah blah blah." And I was like, "She has this joke about," and I told it and she just laughed. She thought it
Yeah,
was so funny.
that one I have not told my mom. Hopefully nobody in my family hears that joke. Um, but thank you. I feel sometimes self-conscious that all my jokes are just about sex and my family, but that's really like what I'm working through right now. I wish I could have jokes about like politics or things that mattered, but anything I write is just about sex or my family.
And that's interesting because you are like a young activist. Like you're very vocal in how you feel about those things, but you're not writing jokes about that. But I don't think like I don't. I'm very I pay a lot of attention to the political climate, right? But
Mhm.
I don't ever want to tell like a political joke because it's going to divide the room.
Right, right. And I know I mean, maybe that's just not the kind of comedian that I am, but maybe I just really respect and admire those types of comedians, and that's just not my
Yeah,
style.
because
That's
you step into that realm, you're in it, right? Like
right.
you're gonna have to defend it, like and I don't want to use that energy to try to defend anything that I'm saying. Like I mean, I'll talk about myself because I talk about myself all day. Like I'll do that, but like
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah,
to.
because it's neutral territory and it's not as easy to like weave in and out of political jokes and then back into you because now some of the audience doesn't like you because of your political joke and then you move back into some material about you. They probably won't laugh at that because they don't like you anymore.
Right?
So
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's
you're right. If you're making jokes about politics, like that's kind of sticks with you as and yeah, you kind of go that route.
right, especially like here in Sacramento, because like you could be like you could be like in a midtown audience and it's very liberal, right? But then you could be like like Folsom or Rockland and like
Yep.
and you could like
Oh,
like they loved you like they could love you, but as soon as you like divide that room, like you're gonna tell what side of the room that they're on, and
yeah.
like I don't think like they're coming to a show to laugh. Like there's enough politics going off like going around
Totally.
us.
And also, I don't think I'm strong enough of a comic to be able to handle that kind of tension right now. Like if I had confidence in my ability to control the audience to that degree, like maybe I would make more of my set political, but I just don't have those tools right now. Like I just feel like I'm just trying to keep my head above water and not like bring tension or like, I'm just not there
No,
yet.
I totally get the whole like just we're just trying to keep our heads above water because like doesn't it feel like you're just treading water most of the time? You're just like, oh my God, I did it. Like I got a show. They said I did okay. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
got another one. Like what's yeah, it's fucking crazy right now.
Have you
But
done any I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead. You
Have
could
you
ask the
done
question.
any of the sidewalk shows or anything like that?
No, I have not. Have you? You did, right?
Yeah, I've done a couple in the Bay Area, which I mean, the reason I'm thinking of this is because we're kind of talking about like being able to control the room and these sidewalk shows, you have zero control and they toughen you up because I mean, there's all this commotion from the city, people walking. It's a sidewalk. I mean, like anybody could be there. Anyone, I got saged the other day. Like you have no control there. And also my voice, it feels so tiny and there's everything conflicting with it. So those shows have really thickened my skin. But I mean, it's just so challenging, this new era of comedy.
Yeah. What was it? What was the first couple of months of the pandemic like for you when because we were doing great. It was going great, wasn't it? Like it was like shows and everything was going good and bookings and then just one day to the next it's done. What was that like for you, man? Because like me, like I went through it. Like it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough. What was that like for you? How'd you handle that?
I totally agree. We had so much momentum right before. And I remember I was in the middle of a competition. I just I had just lost a competition and there was another one coming, and I needed that competition, I think, to get my confidence back up. I was booked on all these shows, and little by little they're just disappearing. Hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody. I'm not going to lie, in the very beginning when everything started getting canceled, I was so relieved because I was just exhausted. I think like I work 6 to 2 every day, and then shows are at night. Comedy is a lot of driving, a lot of waiting around, and um, it just takes a lot of time. And I think I was, even though, I mean, that momentum was hard work. And so it was nice in the beginning to take a break. I was like, oh, well, I'll just be able to write and catch up on things. But then I couldn't write. I couldn't come up with anything. And then I fell into deep sadness after that. Was it similar for you?
It was, what really got me is like the podcast was going really good. And we had just done another live podcast. We had just done Emma Haney, Becky Lynn live at the Comedy Spot. And I was waiting to hear, because like that's right when Stab was getting ready to announce their podcast festival would have been like at the end of May. And they had told us like if you submitted, they would tell us like middle to late March who was going to be in the podcast festival. So like I was already like emailing like a couple of people here and there of
Yeah.
like, if I get on this festival, like would you be my guest on the podcast? And I think I had like I'm pretty sure I had like a fire two guests, like, and I was so pumped about it.
Yeah.
And so everything gets canceled, and then coming home, well, no, because I wasn't even working. I was working from home at that point, but like waking up every day, and you remember how my podcast setup was in my living room,
Right.
like seeing the microphones just sitting there was depressing. Like
I'm sure.
it was just so sad. So then finally one day, like I boxed everything up so that I couldn't see it anymore. And then that was like, I thought that that would like help give me closure to it, but it actually like made me go like more, because like it felt like I amputated an arm. Like it
Yeah.
just felt like it
That's
wasn't there
baby.
anymore. Yeah. And so like not even looking at it was like even worse. Like, so that depression lasted up until uh one day, like at the beginning of like probably the second week of May, like I couldn't take it anymore. And I had just done laundry. So I had like one basket of clean laundry and one basket of dirty laundry.
Mhm.
I grabbed both those baskets, threw them in my car, grabbed the dog, and I took off to my mom's house for like 3 weeks.
You
And
just
that
needed some time
I definitely just needed to go home. and
here.
and
Yeah.
um and that really, then I came back in June, and then I resurrected the podcast, I think like at the beginning of July or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love doing them on Zoom now, because
It's a lot
now
less
I'm like,
coordinating.
it's a lot less. And now I'm like, God, I used to let strangers in my house like all the time. Like, what the heck was wrong with me? Like,
That's one negative thing is Penelope's not here. I thought your studio was so welcoming and she was so cute, and but yeah, I'm happy you found Zoom to work for you, and it's just like way more convenient and safer. So
yeah,
we all adapted, it seems.
we did. But and some of us, it took me a little bit longer to adapt, but I think being in contact with the guys from the Gag on This podcast, like seeing them, like they never stopped. Like they kept doing podcasts like every week. And like I would message Nick and like ask him like, how are you doing this? Or I would talk to Danielle and I'd be like, well, how are you doing this? And I really thought that it was going to be like a real hard endeavor. And then figuring out how to put everything on YouTube. And it's I think I'm like at 14 or 15 now that I've done on Zoom. And I'm so happy with, like, I absolutely look forward to every Saturday and recording a new podcast, and then
Awesome.
staying up all Saturday editing and putting it together, and then putting it up on YouTube, and then putting it up on the podcast stream. I
Yeah.
love it. You
Yeah, and
should.
that's great that we have people we can rely on and ask those questions like, "Hey, you've been doing this a while, like how," and they're so willing to help and give advice and tips like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like the
Um,
sidewalk. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. What were you saying about the sidewalk?
The sidewalk show I got from a comic in Oakland. His name is David Dominguez. I just went. It's like comedy on the lake on what's the Oakland Lake? What's it called? Lake Merritt. Duh.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, I went to a couple of those and I was like, hey, dude, did you just like buy an amp? He's like, yeah, so I just bought an amp. And then I was like, would you mind if I also bought an amp? And he's like, no. And so, like, we both found that that's how it started. And that's how we just all adapted, I guess, like leaning on each other and figuring out loopholes to get around the pandemic.
Yeah. When did you do the first the comedy in the park? You didn't do that pre-pandemic, did you?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
But were you hosting open mics yet
No, I
pre-pandemic?
was way too scared. And I remember Ruby was hosting the open mic at the Comedy Spot. And like, I'd go to perform and I would just watch her all night and be like, how do you do this? Because you just got to be on your toes for 2 hours. You got a million questions coming at you. You got to have funny transitions. You got to keep the audience happy. Like, I was just so impressed with her. And then I realized that you're never really ready to do it. You just have to rise to the occasion and challenge yourself because it's so intimidating. Like you just have to do it. You're never going to be ready. Like,
Yeah, like you just can't ever like turn down the opportunity to do something, right? Have you regretted that yet, or have you done that, or
no, comedy taught me that you just don't turn it down. Like you just have to do it. Even if I do a bad job, I would rather do a bad job than turn something down. Like you have to take your opportunities.
yeah, turn down a chance to do something?
No way. Yeah, because even like I think somebody dropped out at Comedy Spot at the show that was supposed to be last night. I mean, that was last night, and they asked me to do it to replace the person, but I had comedy in the park, and it was ending around 7:30, and the show's at 8, and I really want to stick around. But also, I love that feeling of like performing twice in one night,
Oh
like
yeah.
because you're like almost fully relaxed the second time you do it, and to be that comfortable on stage, it's something like I don't want to pass up. And I think that's why comedians do like 4 open mics a night, like to just get to that level of comfort.
It also like helps you, like if you have a bad set somewhere, like to just quickly, because like
Yeah,
they always say that, right? Like if you have a bad set, you need to get up on stage as soon as possible to get that
yeah.
taste out of your mouth, right?
Yeah.
And to redeem yourself. So you did comedy spot last night?
Yeah, and it was cool. I have a couple new jokes, and it was cool to test them on both audiences and like to cut the things that for sure didn't work that first time. And it was just like speeding up the whole process. Like comedy just moves a lot faster that way, and we don't really have that luxury. We perform like once a week, especially during, I mean, just right now, and so it felt really good to kind of make progress on my jokes last night.
That's great. What's next for you? What are you gonna do? Like, so comedy in the park is kind of on a hiatus, and
Yeah, I'm sad, but I feel like I'm gonna inevitably think of something because also my friends are sad that it ended, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna brainstorm. For now, the plan is to continue reaching out to outdoor venues, even if they're not in Sacramento. If they're near Sacramento and it's like a once a week thing, I'll be willing to drive. And like I just want an open, safe, socially distant place, and because we could bring them so much business. You know how many people go, at least like 20, 30 people, and we could bring them. I have an Instagram to show for it. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong, since they're not reaching. I mean, they're not getting back to me, so I'm trying not to be discouraged by that.
yeah, yeah. Um, Earlier we were talking about, you said that you thought that at the beginning of the pandemic that you would have time to write. What was the writing process like during those days? Were you just not writing, or was it just too depressing to even write, or what?
I realize like performing is so much a part of writing. You don't just sit down and write every day. You're just adding. No, you're just gonna backlog your journal. You need to like test the jokes, and then when you test the jokes, when you go perform, all you want to go do is write down what worked, what didn't, and then that's how the process continues. But when you're not performing, so hard to write, and I really wasn't thinking, I couldn't think of anything funny about it. And my coworkers would come up to me like, well, this is a great chance for you to catch up writing, and I bet you this is comedic gold right here, working at a grocery store through the pandemic. And then that was just putting pressure on me, because I'm like, I actually don't have anything. And even now, I only have like 2 jokes about working at a grocery store in the pandemic. So it was just miserable.
What
I need to perform to write, I think.
was everybody stocking up on wine?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was like apocalyptic going into work with the shelves empty. The shelves were empty when we were done stocking. They still looked empty. And people, it was just chaotic, you know? And then for a while, nobody really came in, so that was weird too.
Really, um, we won't say the name where you work at, right? But it's absolutely my favorite store in the world. So everybody knows what that is. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm giving it away, but it is absolutely my favorite store in the world. I'm sad that I don't live on your side of town, but then like you would see how often I go in, and then you would also see me horribly flirting with all of the girls, and so that would just get awkward.
I don't know. They hire the cutest girls. I don't
I
know.
want to do this joke about like, what it's like to go for an interview at that place is like, all right, put these shorts on, turn around, let me see your calves. Okay,
You're so
okay,
funny.
okay, you're hired. What size shirt do you wear? Medium. Here's a small. Here you go.
Oh my. Anyways, it's crazy.
Anyway, it's crazy.
But yeah, I wish you did live on this side of town. Robert Barry, actually, he lives on this side of town,
Yeah,
and he's
this
in there all the time with his wife. Uh,
I would not go in there with my wife. I don't have a wife. Anyway,
I know.
I it's my social hour because I get an hour for lunch.
Mhm.
Um, and so I will go. I definitely go every Monday, and then probably Wednesday, and then again on Friday. Like I try not to go on the weekends.
Yeah.
I go in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, and I have my little routine. I look for coffee. I look to see what kind of coffee they've got. I get my eggs. I get my creamer. I
I know
get
you're sad about that soy creamer not coming back till January.
what creamer is not coming back. No, I no the blue one.
Soy? The soy one?
Is that a soy one?
Wait, do you get the big blue one that's vanilla?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. I thought your favorite one was the soy creamer, and
No,
that is out of stock until January.
no, but you guys sometimes do run out of that blue one, and
Which
will
one?
be. What's that like? What people are
People are mean. They think it's me. I took them all off the shelf. They think I'm the gatekeeper for the creamer
and I have to stop myself every time from buying the dark chocolate Reese's
cups. Yeah.
cups. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. My best friend works there, and like she just keeps them a bunch in her pocket, and then she'll just present them to me I'm like a little dog, and they're my treats, and I just light up. And she gets what she wants that way. She just keeps a bunch of those in her pocket, like warm, and people do what she says.
Yeah, the little tiny drumsticks.
Oh, the frozen.
The little yeah, the ice cream. Yeah, I get
Oh,
those.
oh my gosh, the hold the cones.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, I love those. When I take them home, I just like I'll be driving, opening the box, trying to get them out. I can't even wait till I get home. They're just
it
so
never fails. Every time I open the box, I open the wrong end of the box.
good. It's a design flaw, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can eat only like the minimum I can eat is 3. I'm not gonna that box lasts me like 6 hours.
Well, a serving is three of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
so like you're not overdoing it. You're eating one serving. So
Wow, I feel
three,
way better.
yeah, three of them, yeah. And it's still like I You don't count calories. I count calories.
Still, that is nice to know. I thought I was overdoing
No,
it.
you're doing great. You're doing great. I'm sorry. I could talk about that store forever.
No, I love how much you love it. I like it too. I just miss being able to sample the things there.
Yeah,
And
I kind of completely forgot about that already.
yeah, it was great because, that I can't buy every new item. We have new items every week, and anyway, it was just nice. There's a bunch of stuff I miss.
I went the other day and they gave me a, gluten-free pumpkin loaf because they said that that like it was advertised as like 12 ounces, but it was only like 10 ounces or 11 ounces or something like that. So they couldn't
But
sell
it's
them. And
free.
they're, yeah, and they just gave it to me.
That's awesome. And that gluten-free pumpkin loaf, like I don't fuck with gluten-free shit because I'm just like, why? I can tolerate gluten, but that is just it was so good. I couldn't believe there is no gluten.
I was having a piece every night with my like late afternoon cup of coffee. I was having a piece and like at first I was like, let me save this for my friend who like she has to do gluten,
Oh.
right? So like I text her and I was like, dude, I got this gluten pumpkin loaf. And then I was like, all right, I have most of a gluten pumpkin loaf. Like, all right, I have like half of a gluten pumpkin loaf.
Get over here now.
And I'm like, that gluten pumpkin loaf is great. You should try it. There's none left here. So I don't know what you're gonna do. But have what let's talk about a friend of ours really quick because I'm super proud of him and I think I want to have him on the podcast again really soon. How much weight has Parker Newman lost? He
Oh my God.
looks
60? 60
60.
pounds?
So
I
I
love his joke. You know his joke where he's like, I just lost 60 pounds and everybody's claps. It's like, thanks for the applause. Or you could just have sex with me. Like that would give me confidence. Like I love it. All of my friends love him. And when I asked for tips last night, I was like, just tip us at Venmo us, whatever. One of my friends Venmo $10 and said, just for Parker. A fan favorite.
he was when I first saw him, he was like he had his hair like his hair was kind of like messed up, right? And it was like we were kind of far away, and like Robert, I was talking to Robert, I was talking to Robert Barry, and he's like, and I was like, hey, did Parker Newman lose a lot of weight, or did Miriam put on a little bit of weight? Who is that over
He's so funny. No, he
there?
lost so much weight.
But
And then,
he looks great.
yeah,
He
he's
looks
a
great.
girlfriend too, I think.
Well, how's he? How did he do it? Do you know what he did? Did he start working out? What did he do? What's the secret?
I don't know if he was working out. I know he ate a lot differently, and that's all I really know. Cause yeah, I think he just changed his eating habits. But it's possible that he also started going to the gym, although COVID surely fucked that up. So I'm not
Yeah, COVID fucked up a lot of shit.
yeah, I
It
know.
fucked up a lot of things. But now, like, I'm not saying that I go out everywhere every day now, but like, as easy as it is to get it, it's also pretty easy to like stay away from like crowded places and like to. I'm not saying it's easy to not get it, but like you can still like live a semi-normal life and like we don't. I don't think we need to be like hauled up in our house. And I think we're super lucky to live in California
Oh
that
yeah.
like we can actually like there's parts of the country like they can't go outside right now because it's just like it's so cold like and the weather is so bad but like I'm sitting like in my house like the front doors open the kitchen windows open and you
Yeah, it
know
could be a lot worse and
it could be a lot worse so
totally.
hopefully
And if you just use your discretion. Like then you can live like you said, semi-normal life.
yeah
Yeah, and being outdoors helps. I am a little bit nervous for the colder months and how that'll affect transmission, but I mean the only place I'm really at high risk is my work, and for the most part, customers they know the rules. It's just every a couple that, they feel like we're trying to control them or something, but I think people are getting used to it for the most part and I'm feeling safer.
is that still a thing? Do you get that? Like, okay, let me ask you this. Like at the very beginning of the pandemic, did you get like 10 of those a day and now you're getting like one a day?
Yes, it
That's
has
how it is?
it's less for sure, but and now it's just the craziest thing. Like I had a guy come through my line without a mask the other day, and thankfully we have like a plexiglass
Hmm.
barrier, and I said, "Sir, like you can't be in here without a mask." And I get, but we also have managers guarding the door, tr notifying everybody. And he was like, "I have a medical issue." But it's like it seems so selfish, and like that's something we've not gotten past. It just feels like I'm looking at your asshole. Like that's what it looks like. I'm not used to seeing your mouth anymore. I feel like you're showing me way too much. C, if you have a medical issue, please have somebody shop for you. C, it
Yeah.
was on a day that it was smoky as hell, which I was like, you need to be wearing a mask to protect yourself. Like it,
Period. Yeah.
yeah, so basically my only defense in those times, like, is we dramatically cleanse the area when they leave. Like, we'll start spraying before they're even out of the building so they get the message. Like, and I know
Yeah.
that's super petty and passive aggressive, but like we need to defend ourselves. And like I just feel like that's so selfish, and we have no other defense really.
Hey, you know what? I'm watching that documentary about the Comedy Store right now. Have you heard about it?
No, should I watch it?
It's on Showtime. Do you have Showtime? It's
I
like,
don't.
yeah,
I
that like not everybody has Showtime, but
But tell me, is it good? Because I can
it's
find a way.
it's super good. Like it starts off like in the 70s and it talks about like how Mitzi Shore like kind of got the Comedy Store like as a divorce settlement from her husband,
Mhm.
and like how like she like just like let them be themselves, and it talks about like the rise of Richard Pryor. So like one episode is like finishes off talking about Richard Pryor, and then the next episode kind of like goes into like the leaves like Robin Williams and like um oh god, what's Jim Carrey, and like right now I'm watching the episode that's about like Sam Kinison and Andrew Dice Clay and Roseanne Barr, and it's just amazing. Like all of these people like were just like at this club that would they would just go there, and like how it got so world famous. And then like this episode I think is going to end with the whole Kinnison era ending, and then the last episode is about like the Joe Rogan era and how he kind of like helped resurrect it to like what it is now. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I have to watch that because like I feel people ask me like I feel like people think I know about the history of comedy and I generally don't, and I should know. I should, and I'm sure it's super inspiring to see all those people just because like I mean potentially that could be like comedy spot one day is like at the time they probably when they're all hanging out performing they probably didn't think they were going to make it as big as they did. Like it just hearing that makes me feel hopeful, and it's pretty inspiring.
so you weren't a big comedy fan, like that's not what got you into comedy?
I didn't watch a lot of stand-up, no. I just watched like I didn't even really get the remote growing up. Like I just like my brother, whatever he watched, and he watched a lot of stupid stuff like Family Guy and like Jim Carrey movies, sure, and Steve Martin, sure, but like not really stand-up specials, I wouldn't say. Um, so I feel embarrassed when people ask me about it, and I just don't know what to say.
What made you decide to do start doing comedy?
Well, I don't watch stand-up, but I love well, I just people would say I was funny, and I was like, okay, I gotta hold on to that because like especially because I was not cute in high school. But then what really got me into comedy is my girlfriend cheated on me right when I moved to Sacramento, and I was Muslim when I met her, and then I stopped practicing because I loved her, and I was like, God, this can't be wrong. I just went through all these like I just loved her so much. So the breakup just tore me apart. And thankfully, I just moved to a brand new place, and I saw a comedy spot, and I was like, how can I be a part of this? And I went on their website, applied to be an intern. So I just worked the box office, and then I watched for 2 years as like confident white man man bombed on stage just like, and I was like, God, I'm just too nervous. But I'm like, wait a second, everyone's bombing every fucking night. Like, why can't I go up there and bomb too? Like, it just took me 2 years to come to that conclusion, basically. But I know I described it negatively, but I did really enjoy those 2 years of watching our local comedians grow and hearing their jokes change ever so slightly. And it was very interesting. And I love our community.
What was it like going from like how long did it take you to from like you're sitting there watching to like, okay, I think I'm gonna go up there next week, or I think I'm gonna go up there next week. How long did that take? And did somebody nudge you,
two
or what?
years.
Two
Um,
years, and then what finally like what changed on that Sunday that made you say I'm gonna go up and do it? Like what
I
nudged you?
listened. I listened to this TED talk about fear. It was just
Okay,
about fear. And in the TED Talk, they recommended a book called Tribe of Mentors by Timothy Ferriss, which is just a bunch of successful people describing their failures. Every 2 pages is just another story of failure. And these are very successful people, even like athletes, poker players, like interior designers, actors, all types of successful people and their failures. And then and then from that, I got the tip, to set a date. And then, so let's listen to that podcast, read that book, set a date. 2 weeks from today, you're going to go on stage. And then that's when I started writing. And my best friend was coming over. We were smoking weed, writing, till I got a 5 minutes, and then I just never looked back, really.
who brought you up the first time you performed? Do you remember?
um, I think it was Shahara. I want to
Okay,
say, yeah, because I remember feeling like I think she gave me a pep talk, and she was like my comedy mom for a while.
I was gonna say because like there's like you we develop like these kinships, right? These friendships because like Ed Mena brought me up the first time, and like I didn't know him, and like I was sitting outside comedy spot. I was sitting outside and I was like, who's in charge? And they're like, that guy is, and like I told them it's my first time. Um, can you like let the crowd know it's my first time? Like I was really scared about it,
Of course.
and he's like, and like I was like kind of like rambling. He's like, dude, I get it. I'll put you up kind of early. Don't worry, And like he did the whole like, hey, this guy, it's his first time, and this is really hard to do, So give it up for him, no matter what happens. Like this is hard, guys. So and like I went out there, and I'll never forget that. Like it felt okay. Like how like when you're having a horrible set, you're having a horrible set, but
Yeah.
like it felt like this doesn't feel horrible. Like they laughed most of the time, and then
Yeah.
when I walked off the stage, like how you like it's like that buzzing, and you're kind of like you don't know what's going on. I heard Ed say, "Hey guys, sometimes it goes really bad, and sometimes it goes like that." So that was great. If he'd have said the opposite, like I may have never gone up there
On back.
again,
Yeah,
right?
he had your back, and he's been in your position, and it feels so good to do well your first time. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with it's like so charming. Somebody being so vulnerable for the first time on stage like that, like the audience is immediately endeared to them. And sometimes, like, I had a really good set my first time, and it set my expectations like too high, because then after that, like I thought I'd always do that well, but that was just the bar.
Do
But
you get I get excited, and I definitely want to watch whenever I'm somewhere and I catch wind that somebody's going to go up and do their very first set.
yeah, totally. It's so interesting. I mean, I've seen somebody do their very first set at Punchline, Sacramento, and I don't know how this guy got to do his very first set at Punchline. It was like the very first showcase I was on, so I was like, "You guys, this is a really big deal." So many of my coworkers came, so many of my friends, and then the host is like, all right, this is this guy's very first time, blah blah blah, make it loud. And so meanwhile my friends and family are like, I thought this is a big deal, this guy just coming out of nowhere. And then he comes and he bombs so hard, and I'm just like so confused, because like everything is going for you when you perform at Punchline. Like everyone's drinking, they're set up perfectly. It's like low, like you have everything on your side. So it doesn't always go well, I guess.
Were were we on the show together the last night at Punchline? I know my last set was at Punchline.
Was Ruby on that
Ruby
show?
was on that show. Did you get a set like at the last minute?
No,
Or
yeah,
no, you were
I
there
got a
supporting
guest.
Ruby.
No, yeah, I got a guest set at the last minute and I went first.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and you were on that show?
I was on that show and I
And did
think
you go out with a bang?
I did. I did.
Good.
I had a solid set
Yeah.
and Ruby had a great set. Like
Yeah,
I Daniel
that's
Humbarger had a great set.
he hosted, no?
Yeah, Daniel hosted like
Yeah.
Morgan Anderson. That's when I first met Morgan.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything was going. Johnny Taylor.
Yeah, Ruby recorded that set and then she posted on her Facebook and she was like, "Hey, I'm out of a job, Venmo me." And the community pitched in like $1,000
Yeah,
in like a couple hours. It was like,
really?
swear. We were she just come into my room, $50. I was like, $50? Come back 10 minutes later, $600. I was like, what? So that's when I really felt the love. Like that's when I was like, I think we're gonna be okay. If,
Is like inspiring. Wow. Because dude, everybody loves you and Ruby, right?
yeah,
Everybody. Like I
but I
think everybody does.
yeah, but I constantly see us showing up for each other. Like on Sacked, people like during the fires, hey, I have a room available if somebody needs a place to go. Hey, I can take your cats or dogs if you don't know where, like everybody is just so willing to help. And it's like, it's so much than more about, it's more than just the comedy.
You
So
know what I'm thinking is like too is like a lot of people that I know here in Sacramento, like they like found themselves in Sacramento. Like you said you moved here from somebody somewhere else. Was it from further away or
Stockton, yeah,
from
Stockton, and
Stockton?
then Tracy before that, but totally found myself here. I would say that,
I
yeah.
yeah, so I think to myself, like I finally am becoming the person that I've wanted to be like my whole life here in Sacramento. And I kind of see that a lot with like Alieta, like moved here from another place, and like just all these other people that like, and I think that's why we're such a caring community because like we all like kind of like found our true selves here and like we know what it's like to just like not to like to just feel a little bit uncomfortable, to feel a little bit out of place, or to feel a little bit scared, you know,
Hmm.
because like I definitely was that dude. Like I lived up here for like 2 or 3 years before I started like hanging out with people and like getting to know people. I remember I don't know when it was, but like I wanted to go to a concert and like I told my friend in Bakersfield, I was like, "Hey, can you come up the weekend?" And she was like, "Dude, you should really have friends up there by now."
That's a good friend though. Just to gave it to you real right there.
Yeah, she was like, dude, you should really have friends up there by now to go to concerts with. And I was like, well, just come to this one with me and then we'll
And
figure it
then we'll
out
talk.
after.
And
Yeah,
maybe
then
we'll
we'll
meet
talk.
someone.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I cannot wait for it to get back to normal. But I don't know. Uh, I like the slower pace because you touched on it earlier. Like it is like nonstop when you're doing shows, and then when you're not doing shows, like you feel like you got to get out to open mics,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
there's those nights where you're like, oh, I could hit 2 mics tonight easily, and
Mhm.
but it's been a nice break, and I'm ready to jump back into it.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the spring.
Yeah, I'll be ready in the spring. Let me write a couple new jokes. Yeah, I've enjoyed the break too, and I know that when we get back, we will not take anything for granted, and I think we'll love each other. I know this is stupid, but I think like we'll love each other so much more because before when I'd go to the comedy spot, I would be so shy walking up. But now I would just want to hug every single person and kiss them. Like I just like miss everybody. I miss the whole thing and I won't take it for granted.
It is so weird to like how I've like turned off the hug uh like the hug react, like just in person, like it's so weird
I
to
get
like,
it.
yeah, it's not cool because like I do really miss giving hugs, saying goodbye to people, and like even shaking hands and like I don't know, but it's a weird spot we're in right now, and I know we'll get over it. There'll be a vaccine and there'll be treatments, or like people ask me. Sorry, I'm gonna
No,
try out a joke.
tell me.
People ask me like, "Are you gonna do the vaccine, Jesse? Like, aren't you worried about a vaccine?" And I'm like, "Dude, I used to have a meth addict. I used to be a meth addict, right? Like, I used to snort stuff up my nose that bikers made in a bathtub. Like,
I'm
I
gonna take that vaccine.
I'm gonna take that vaccine. Like,
I love it.
I'm not worried about it, But I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole anti-vaccine thing, and I don't want to get into the whole political things. But I'll be so glad when this election's over, and
It's
I'll
so
be.
close.
I know.
The
Like I
longest
remember, like
years
it used to
ever.
be like it would be like months away or years away, or weeks
Yeah,
away. Now it's like days away, and I'm like,
I'm ready.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so
Um,
ready for this to be over with. I don't know, but
yeah, because I don't want a vaccine from this administration. Like, I'll take a vaccine, but
oh
it's what it
man.
is.
Do you celebrate the holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff? What is that
My
like?
my family is all they moved everywhere, so but my mom is 30 minutes away, so I'll go eat with her and her boyfriend. Like she'll make a small meal. So it's really, really boring. And but I do appreciate I think it's boring, but I appreciate that it's low key. Since I work at a grocery store, I see how much pressure it is and how much money people spend and how stressed they are. And I could wear my sweatpants and just go eat with my mom and that's just fine with me. So
I I was thinking that the other day that I don't think that my fashion sense is ever going to recover from this pandemic.
too
Like
comfortable.
and then especially like I've been working from home this whole time, and like they're saying we're probably going to stay working from home. Like once it's over, that they're going to give you the choice to work from home or work from the office, or like work from the office like one day a week or something like that. And I'm like, I don't think I want to recover fashionably from this, because like I have not like when I finally decided to wear a pair of pants the other day, like I couldn't find my belt. Like I was like,
Long gone.
I haven't worn a belt, like, and like I finally found a belt, but it was broken, so I had to just like tie it. Like,
No, I'm genuinely nervous for shows to pick back up, and I have nothing. I don't know how to dress nice and professional anymore. Like this shirt says "bread to shred." Like I'm fucked. Come on.
have you done any of the Zoom shows?
Oh no, I'm scared. I'm too shy.
I started doing this show called Rush In Roulette,
Okay.
and they put your name on the wheel, right? So everyone's name is on the wheel. Then they spin the wheel, and it's like, boom, you're next. So then they spin the wheel, and it's like, so there's three wheels. One wheel has everybody's name. One wheel has random numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one wheel has like 300 topics. So they spin the name, they spin the wheel to see who's next. Then they spin the wheel to see how much time you're going to get. Then they
Oh,
spin the wheel and give you a topic.
that's awesome. Did you come up with any jokes through
I,
that?
I have riffed a lot, and I've had
Uh-huh.
some solid sets, and I have them all recorded, but I haven't gone through to like try to pick them apart to write from them, because
But you
like
have some seeds.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, but I've got other stuff in notebooks that I've like kind of jotted that stuff down. But it's like everything that makes me uncomfortable about open mics. Like you don't know when you're going to go up, you don't know how much time you're going to get, and you don't know like what the heck your topic is going to be.
Yeah,
And
it's I'm like impressed that you got to rise to the challenge because you can't say no.
yeah, and that's what it was. Like Jackie Pearl came over and had coffee one day, and she was just like, "You got to do it. You got to do it. I'm going to be on it." And like, so like Jackie and Danny D do it all the time. So like that's who kind of led me that way. And the girl is from Seattle. But there's comics like from all over the United States on it, like this dude from New York, and so it's really cool. Like, it's like cool to like meet new people. And like I'm doing it tonight. They do one Saturday. They do it Saturday night at 9, and then Sunday afternoon at 3. So I'll
Yeah,
probably
cool.
do them both.
Yeah, you should
Like I've
because
been
that's
doing them
a
both
great
with,
way to come up with premises and stuff
yeah,
like
the last couple weekends I've done them both days, so it's a lot of fun. But that's the only Zoom show I've done. I mean, I've done a couple of the stab ones and the comedy spot ones, like the obscure movie thing, and
oh,
like the,
trivia buddies
yeah,
show. Yeah.
yeah, and I've done that. I've done
Oh,
those, but like comedy, no, I haven't done. It's just I did a couple of the stab open mics at the very beginning.
yeah.
Um, just and that was more kind of just to see everybody. Like
Yeah,
it
you just
really
miss people.
it really was, because that's when like the quarantine was like hardcore. Like it was like
Right.
we were in jail. Like that's what that was like at the beginning. But
Yeah.
okay, well,
Well,
Miriam, I think we're done. What do you think?
I think we've covered a lot.
We have.
Yeah.
Um, I hope that we get to see each other soon, and as soon as we can, come over. We'll hang out, and you can play with the dog, or you know, and
Yeah,
we'll
and
we'll
if
drink we'll drink some coffee, and maybe I'll surprise you one day and come to your store. But I
yeah,
don't
that would
think.
be a treat. And if I get another venue or figure this out, I'll definitely have you on.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know, and I'll at least I'll definitely come watch. Please say hi to everybody, Ruby, Parker, Drew. Say hi to that whole crew. Love you guys, miss you guys, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
Okay, thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.